Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Michael Moses and I'm obsessed with self-improvement. I always study the different sciences, so psychology, philosophy, and even neuroscience to really understand what's happening inside my body, inside my mind, and even a little bit of spirituality. I don't talk a lot about it, but from time to time, if it's something that interests you, I can speak about it openly. I think it's personal for everybody, so I don't want to overburden you with that stuff, but still, I think it would be kind of an interesting conversation. I don't have much experience with it, but for the other spheres, I think that I have a good grasp, especially since my 25th birthday. This year, I'm going to be 32 in July. So it's almost 7 years of experience into the world of self-improvement. I want to cut as little as possible in those videos. So that's one goal that I told myself in the last few videos that I recorded. So I think this is my fourth, if I'm not mistaken. So the first one was kind of just me thinking about the future, thinking about how I wanted to change stuff for the channel. Before that, I was making more elaborate content with a lot of edits and such, and that was really time consuming. I was not feeling really good while doing it, so I just decided to change the format, except that I will get a little bit less views, which is totally fine because I just want to feel like myself in front of the camera with you guys. Of course, when I do a very big pause that it could be boring, I will cut it out. It's very basic edits, but I will try to cut as little as possible, if that makes sense. And I will not overburden you with a lot of different infographics and edits and zooms and blurs and transitions and such, b-rolls. I don't want to engage into that because I know that it's probably the best way to hook the viewer and to make sure that they stay in those videos. But at the same time, it takes a lot of time, and it's not because I'm not able to do them, but I also have a full-time job. I have a newborn, so I don't want to spend too much time on that and sacrifice the time to have a meaningful and balanced life. So I hope that makes sense for you. And if I get little view, it's all right. I already got one subscriber in 3 videos, and I'm pretty happy. Thank you, by the way, for subscribing. Welcome to the family. And well, I'd like to build something bigger with you guys. If you want to comment, if you want to share your experiences, we can talk about that. It would be really interesting to see like what personal transformation you guys have been through, or I don't know, tips and tricks that you want to elaborate on. If you have questions about the future, about how to achieve goals better, just talking about situations as a whole. And here I will really be straightforward with you. I will give you my heart on a platter and just tell you everything that's true to me. So I want to be as honest as possible, as transparent as possible. I already talked about a little indigestion problem that I had the past week, so there is no real limits to what I will be talking about. Of course, I still give myself a chance to step back and keep some of my personal life, but overall, I want to create that kind of dynamic. I think you can understand what I'm trying to say here. So recently, I read the book from Naval Ravikant that I showed in the last 3 videos. And in his book, there's a really interesting section. By the way, you can find that book on his website. I think it's at nav.hall. And you can find book recommendations on this site. But you can also find the full book directly on the web. And it's a really very interesting book. I think anyone could benefit from reading it because it's written so simply. It's basically just Naval Ravikant. Well, actually, it's inspired from Naval Ravikant's Twitter posts. And there was an interview, I think, between the author of the book and Naval Ravikant regarding those quotes, and then the book is like a big merge of the interview and the quotes themselves. So I hope that makes sense. It's really a very easy book to read. The sections are short and sweet. And it's very dense with honest information from the mind of, I think, a great philosopher of our society, our current society. And I can say the same for a lot of books. There's a lot of books that have one very good idea, but this book, I feel like there's a lot of great ideas into it. So I would really recommend it. But well, since I read the whole book, there was a lot of book recommendation at the end, and I decided to order a few of them. And the reason is quite simple. It's because Naval talks about how he sees life. And how he sees it is in a very logical way. All in all, of course, he talks about spirituality here and there, but he never goes too deep into it, and he still stays quite rational overall. Even when he speaks about death, which not a lot of authors do, I think people are afraid to talk about death, but I really like when authors dive into that subject. Even in another book, it was, I think, The Denial of Death from Ernest Becker, which was a really, really great book. That's another book that I really recommend, but it's a little bit more dense. It's harder to read. I don't know exactly why. Maybe it's the language. It's not as simple. In Naval's book, everything is simple. Everything is explained in the most simple way and terms. And I think it makes it like, it makes you relaxed in a way. It keeps your brain relaxed, because it's not always complicated things that are explained to you. So I guess that's something that I would like to replicate in my videos also, and in my writing, to try to explain things in very simple words, in as simple words as possible. To get back to the point I was trying to make, in the recommendation, he sees the world very rationally, and he gives a few tips, a few books that he suggests to eventually have the same kind of vision towards the world, to be able to explain everything that happens and be able to find your place in some logical way, so you can get to your goals in a more easy way. And well, at the end, and even throughout the book, he talks a lot about the fact that he was able to become a millionaire, that he's free financially, and that's really great. But at the same time, now, if he had to start over, he's not even sure that he would go towards that goal first, because what he aims for now is simply peace, peace of mind, and peace in a more broad sense. And it was really interesting to see, because not a lot of people talk about that. But I guess it's kind of related with meditation in a way. I was talking to one of my good friends recently, and he talked a lot about meditation, about how he was going towards that journey, and it was really interesting to see what happened and how he felt inside of it. I don't want to go too much in details about it, but I think it's something that I'd like to explore in the future. The books I think that interest me the most in the recommendations from Naval are the books on game theory, and also the books from Matt Ridley, which talks about how the universe functions as a whole. I'm not sure, I don't want to get you to go into the wrong path, but I think it is, because now I received it. I bought them from thrift shops, online thrift shops, and I didn't know we could do that. So the first one I got from Ridley is Genome, which is the autobiography of a species in 23 chapters from Matt Ridley. And I really don't know what to expect, but it looked like a solid recommendation. And I'm always interested to know a little bit more about humans and how we work in societies. I got a few more books, but the other book I wanted to present you was The Complete Strategist. And this one is kind of interesting. It's a primer on the theory of games of strategy, and it's so crazy that I didn't read those books in the past because I'm like one of the I'm an adept of strategy games. That's probably the only thing that I play in life. So there's like board games. When I play board games and everything is about luck, well, it bores me in a way. I try to learn to enjoy it a little bit more, even in the political sense. If you play some kind of game like categories or something like that, there's always an aspect that feels a little bit political. So if you get the right word, but the other players you play with think that you don't have the right word, well, it can be quite frustrating, especially for me because, well, I mean, for everyone, it's not just for me, but it can be frustrating, especially when you see that people are denying your words when you're in the first place. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm a sore loser and I don't know. But I think overall, I'm a pretty good player. I don't try to win absolutely always, but I like when it's fair and when the rules are equal in a way. When we all have equal chances to win, even if we get the lead in the first place. And I've also tried playing with accepting that I don't have a lead in the first place and just concede the game to someone else at the start and then trying to claw my way back in with politics. But this doesn't feel like a winning strategy either. But well, what I wanted to talk about was the books on game theory. It's quite crazy actually that I've never read a single book about it. There are so many books about it, and it's it's just crazy. I mean, I read about statistics. I actually studied statistics in university, and it was quite boring. There was a little bit of references to probabilities, but now this book, this new book that I got, The Complete Strategist, is only about game theory, and it's really interesting. I'm not very far. I just received it, and it's quite hard to understand. A lot of the time, you need to reread because there are some diagrams into it. Let me show you. So you see, this is one of the diagrams, but sometimes you have much harder and complex ones. I'll just try to find one. So let's take this one for example. Okay, so I think you can understand. Sometimes it's not just a light read. It's something that you need to stay concentrated on. It's something that you need to ask yourself question as you read it. And well, it's quite interesting. It's a new adventure, a new type of book for me. And the only type of book that I read about games are actually chess books. But I think I needed something a little bit more basic like this one. Because in chess, if you understand how the pieces move, there's still something missing to really see an improvement. I was having a very hard time to do so, and I think those books are exactly what I need because they talk a lot about equal odds on both sides and how to really get a great strategy into it. But well, maybe I'm just mistaken. Maybe those books are completely useless, but I'm pretty sure they're not. Especially if since they were recommended by Naval, and I don't know. Of course, I'm biased because I just finished reading his first book, but I really trust the words that he said because it feels really authentic. I'd like to make it as authentic as him in the future if possible. So now I feel like I'm rambling a lot. Maybe I can stop the video right here. I don't have much else to talk about. In the next few weekends, there's a lot of birthdays that I need to attend to. Snow is slowly melting. I can't wait to go and take more walks and run outside. For sports, I've been having quite an issue this week, so I did not work out. I shoveled a lot of snow though, but it's not the physical workout that I'm looking for. So I took a little break, an unexpected break, an unplanned break, but still I need to stay in the present and plan for the future. So for now, we're Thursday, and before the end of the day, I'd like to engage in my cardio workout and tomorrow my strength workout. And I'm going to be making another video, maybe tomorrow, maybe I think the next one will be Monday, but I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll see how it goes until then. But yeah, I also stopped my piano lessons. I went back yesterday for my other piano lesson, and it's really not good. Really, I have the book I've shown you in the last video. It's pretty bad. It's quite boring, and I think it's the best way to go forward. But I don't need a teacher really to make me go through that book. It's pretty self-explanatory, so I don't see why I should really pay to drive there and do those boring exercise with another adult person. I think I can just do it quietly at home. Yeah, that's it. And there's another thing. I also started talking with my friends about creating a big gaming tournament, and it's really interesting. I'd like to. I don't know. I can talk about it in those videos. It can be quite interesting for you guys. I created a group on Facebook Messenger and invited all of my guy friends that I like to game with, and I just asked them the question: who's the better gamer in all this group, excepting me? And well, the goal of this question was simply to make them tease each other a little bit to see like who has the best ego. And a lot of people just talked about how they were good in the past and how today they don't really give much attention to it. So this really gave me the opportunity to challenge them, to tell them, oh, well, then maybe we can create some kind of event where we can test our skills and see who's the best gamer today. And so it was pretty well received. I liked how we made that conversation. I think everyone had a lot of fun just chatting to each other. Yeah, I will try to make this happen. I really don't know the details. I want people to contribute in a way, not in the planning, but just to make sure that everyone has a good time when the event happens. So, for example, we can rent a log house, or maybe just a rental and Airbnb, and just spend the weekend there and play games all weekend, play a tournament and have brackets and such. It could be really interesting. We can play one single game, or we can play like 20 different games and make rankings around them. But this will be a private event. It's not something that will be broadcasted. It's really games with friends. But how I'd like it to be, if it's okay with them, is to go into some rental place. It would be really interesting to have that. Maybe with like a big table where we can all bring our gaming setup. We all play on PC, if I'm not mistaken. I think everyone is on PC. For the weekend, I could arrange a different set of games. So I really like planning those kinds of events. I did a lot in the past, but it's been a while now, and I feel like we could all benefit from spending a little bit more time together, especially since the COVID. I don't like talking too much about this era and this chapter, but at the same time, I feel like we gained a lot of distance, and it's a great way to just link back up together. Of course, during the pandemic, I isolated myself with my wife. We went in a remote location, as all of them just stayed into the city or really nearby. But yeah, I like to create those kinds of events because it brings us back together, and it's quite amazing. Outside of that, I think I'd like to incorporate a little bit of gaming also into my life. I was watching a lot of videos about Grubby and Tyler1, which are probably two names that you've never heard about. Grubby is a really good player from Warcraft 3, and he recently started coaching a few different gamers in different games in other games than Warcraft, which don't have anything to do with Warcraft. He's trying to make some kind of streamer event around Warcraft 3. So these are not professional players, but they are players that play very intensively. They spend countless hours of time every single day. They are very focused. They know how to get good. And it's really interesting to see them go toward that kind of goal because they have all the time in the world. They don't have to do anything else. It's their job. So it's really interesting. And they all have very interesting personalities too because, well, they've been able to get all that big following to become a famous streamer and to detach themselves from financial obligations by just playing games. So it's really interesting to see how it shapes up. So that really inspired me to learn Warcraft 3 too, because I played a lot of Warcraft 3 in my youth, but I've never played the real ladder games, so the ranked matchmaking system. And I saw all the coaching that Grubby did on his channel. He coached a lot of people from StarCraft 2 to Tyler 1 and other people. And I feel it's a really interesting segment. It really inspires me to learn the game because when I was playing Warcraft 3, I did not really see it as a possibility to improve in that game. And I think the best time I had ever when I was playing games was when I was playing StarCraft 2 and trying to improve. And it was quite a while ago. StarCraft 2 is another strategy game. It's a RTS. So Warcraft 3 and StarCraft 2 are both RTSs, so real-time strategy games. They are a little bit different, made from the same company, but they share a lot of similarities. So you control a base and you build an army and you try to win over the war against your enemy. The goal is basically to eliminate every single building the opponent has. And yeah, I was playing a lot of that type of game in the past. And this is how I met one of my very good friends that I still see today, that I still spend time with. Gaming was actually one of my best friend finder in my life. Every single one of my friends at the moment are people that I game with, one way or another. I didn't really see it that way, but it's true. I'm a gamer at my core. It's something that I don't want to demonize. It's something that I want to cherish. It's not bad to game. What is bad is to game obsessively. But the same can be applied with physical activity. If you just spend 10 hours a day doing physical activity, it's not going to be better for you. You can't find balance with that kind of lifestyle. So, well, I don't want to talk too much about it, but it's quite an interesting revelation and a nice way to see life because, yeah, I never really thought about it that way. So, this is something I will be able to think about in the next few days. um, so I will wish you a very good day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.